Welcome to the Drill General. This is lesson 2. It is very, very important that you stay here with us and go through the lessons as we move along. Remember, as I always say, you need to subscribe because you are going to go through the lessons step by step to enable you get everything you need to know about drill. Lesson 2, you are going to go through the words of command and what they mean. We are also going to look at the instructor's method and steps that we need to follow when we are teaching drill. Let us start. Now, when we say the words of command and what they mean, we are talking about commands and how you have to give them or give it so that it will have a clear meaning in the mind of the Pathfinder or the one executing the command. It is very, very important. You don't just say anything and then anybody will act. It should follow sequential procedure so that it will help the person executing the command to understand that this is what the command means and this is how I need to execute it. And so you need to understand that in every command, when it is given, there are 3 breakdowns you need to know in that command. The first one is that there is an introduction of that command, so it is called the introductory word of command. Then there is a caution part you need to also know, and that is the cautionary word of command. And then we come to the execution or the executive word of command. That is what will push you to act. So let us go into it. When we say the introductory word of command, as I said, it is what is going to introduce you into the lesson or the command the person is given. And so if somebody wants you to turn or he wants you to move to any direction, then that command will introduce you into where you have to go. So let's say we want to turn to the right. Remember, there are 3 positions on parade. Remember, we have the advanced column, which is the frontage of where you start your formations from. We have the retire column, which is the back part. I am saying it in a layman's understanding. Remember, I said we are going step by step. So I'm not going to give technical words that will confuse you. And so when I'm saying it, don't look at it as if he's giving what is the back and what. No, I am giving basic explanation so that anyone who even doesn't know drill will come to appreciate what we are doing. And so, as I said, the advanced column is just the frontage. When you set up for parade, where you stand to face the dais or where the dignitaries are sitting, that you face is called the advanced column. The back part of the position you are standing is the retire column. And so the retire column is the back. Remember, the retire is not always about head. We'll go through those things in our next lessons, but for now, I'm just giving you the overview. So advance is the frontage, retire is the back part, and then the left and the right parts are called the flanks. And so we have the left flank and the right flank. And so you need to understand this. When you understand this, then when you are going to move, you will know how the commands are going to be. So anytime you hear move, move, then you know we are going to the flanks. And so let's say we want to go to the right flank. I'll give the command, move to the right in 3, right, turn. The moment I give this command, move to the right in 3, it's introducing you to the fact that we are going to the right. So get yourself ready, go to the right. So the introductory word of command always tell you where we want to go to. Get ready, we want to go to this position.
Move to right in 5.
Now the next is the cautionary word of command. The cautionary word of command is what is going to instill that caution that really this is where we are going. And so, get yourself ready. And so, in cautionary word of command, it is always long. It is prolonged for you to get yourself very much ready to act. And so, it is always said it is the long drawn word of command that gives you the reminder of the actual position that you were introduced to. And so, the moment you get there, then you know you are going to act. And so the action part comes in, which is the execution or the executive word of command. And it comes for you to act. Now, the cautionary word of command, you see our first example, is right. So that is where we prolong it for you to be alert that we are really going to the right.
Right.
Then the executive and the execution word of command becomes the verb, the action or the doing word. Turn, then you act on the command.
Turn.
And so remember that the introductory word of command just alerts you on where we are going. Move to the left in place. Then the cautionary will prolong it for you to know that this is really where we are going. So get yourself ready. Lift. Then the execution of the executive word of command will come. Turn, then you act on the word of command.
Squat. Move to left to foul. Lift. Turn. Squat. 2, 3.
But note, sometimes the introductory word of command may be omitted. It is not wrong. Like you say, lift, turn. It is right. It is right. Though the introductory word of command did not come, the cautionary execution are there, and so you still have to act.
Lift. Turn. Squat. 2, 3.
But in certain times in our drill, we can cut off the introductory word of command, the cautionary word of command, and then only act on the execution word of command. Sometimes, like we are marching and we are given to mark time. So you are going and the command is giving quick mark, time. Start marking time, left, right. At that position of mark time, you can't give an introductory word of command, you can't give a cautionary word of command, or you don't even need to give introductory and cautionary word of command. The next word of command that should come is forward. And so the moment forward is given, it is just an execution or executive word of command. And so you act on it. And with that, you just act on the executive or the execution word of command. Forward. Something like squat, chin. Squat, chin. When you are giving this command, it is just the cautionary and the executive or execution word of command that you give.
Squat. Sit.
Sometimes when you want to do it sequentially, you say shin, ease, chin, ease. When you are giving this, then you are only giving the executive or the execution word of command without the introductory and the cautionary. And remember, these are all correct.
Sit.
So note that we have three: the introductory word of command, the cautionary word of command, and the execution or the executive word of command. But with all these, you can sometimes omit the introductory and use the cautionary and the execution, or you omit introductory and cautionary and use only the execution. But remember, all these are used according to when and what sequence you are doing. So please note that it is not any time that you will do that. Now, as a drill instructor, there is something very important you need to know, and it is called the communication drill. As an instructor, if you don't follow this sequence you are going to be given now, in the communication drill, it will be very difficult for you to get your Pathfinders to understand what you are doing and to follow what you are teaching. And so first, in the communication drill, you always have to demonstrate to the squad all the words of command you are going to do at a halt. Do it at a halt. It is very, very important. So as you stand to attention, you act on it for them to know. So you know that this is really how it is done. And then you need to conduct the squad while they are giving the command. And remember, at any given time, the squad should give the elementary words of command, insisting on clarity and power from each person. Remember, in our first lesson, I told you that the commands you give must be clear and it must not be exaggerated. And so, whenever you are giving the command, let the Pathfinders shout the time. Let them give the command as you have given it and insist on clarity. Let them not bite the command. Let them say it exactly. Turn, not take. Turn, not shit. There is nothing like that. So don't be giving commands that will confuse the Pathfinders. Say it clearly so that they also act and also respond clearly. Insist on clarity and power. It's very, very important. Then the next thing is that you have to divide the squad or the Pathfinders you are training into smaller groups. After every demonstration that you have done, divide them into smaller groups. Let them stand in that smaller groups and go through what you have taught them. At a point, within say 10 minutes, you swap them so that other groups members will join other groups and they go through again. Then finally you bring them together and then you go through. You realize that everything you have taught them within that period will be grasped because they've taken their time to go through step by step with their friends, which they are very comfortable with. And then they got it. And so when you come together and you act, you see that everything comes on point. And so if you are enjoying everything we are doing, as I told you before, just like, just subscribe and send me your comments. The questions are very, very important to me. Bring the questions and they will be answered for you. This is the Drill General. I'll be waiting for you in the next lesson. See you in the next lesson.